We've all had to take action to slow the spread of COVID-19 and to protect our people. And as we continue to fight this virus, we also can't forget that climate change still remains one of the greatest challenges of our time. And in fact, COVID-19 and the climate crisis have a lot in common.
The general rule of thumb that I believe everybody should adopt is that if any problem is being presented as a global crisis, then it is a scam.
As a global community, we're challenged by urgent and looming crises. Will we work together to save lives, defeat COVID-19? Will we meet the threat of the challenging climate we're all feeling, already ravaging every part of our world? That's the idea behind the Build Back Better world.
This global pandemic has also created an opportunity to build back better, and climate action is an essential part of that.
We can build back better from this pandemic by building back greener.
Here we are now with an economy in crisis, but with an incredible opportunity, not just to build back to where we were before, but better, stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. And there's no more consequential challenge that we must meet in the next decade than the onrushing climate crisis.
Right now, all of our countries are dealing with the health and economic impacts of the global pandemic. But as we look to rebuilding from this crisis, we must do so in a way that will build back better for all of our citizens. And that must include an ambitious plan to take strong action against climate change.
We want to build back better from the pandemic, and I think that this is the right moment there for us all to focus on the other great natural challenge about which we've been warned time and time again. We can't ignore it. The warnings have been even clearer than they were for COVID, and that is the problem of climate change.
This pandemic has taught us the importance of global cooperation, and we must translate that lesson to how we deal with the climate crisis. This pandemic reminds us of what we can achieve through collaboration. We came together, countries, communities, and neighbors, to work for our collective safety and well-being. That's a lesson we need to apply to the climate crisis.
We know now that the next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
The pattern that we are confronted with is really the fabrication of global crises. The presentation either of non-existent problems or small local problems as being general global crises. That fabrication followed by the assertion that the only solutions that are permissible are global ones that require a global authority, global control. That is the general pattern that we are up against. The COVID policy response was one of those. Look at what happened to countries like Sweden or Tanzania, who tried to push back against the orthodoxy, the new orthodoxy. And the climate crisis, the climate change crisis, is another example where we are told that the biggest threat to the world is this molecule, CO2, and that an increase in the level of this molecule will cause an increase in temperature, and that temperature increase will be bad for us, and that the only thing we can do is consume fewer fossil fuels and less energy. That's fitting the pattern exactly. The other things you can observe is, instead of presenting science as an ongoing, evolving activity, it is presented in terms of static knowledge, consensus. And you see the cancellation and censorship of dissident voices rather than engagement with them. These patterns are proof of a scam. That is what people need to understand. Whenever something is presented as the science, as a consensus, it is a scam. You do not have to go and get engaged in all of the minutiae of the scientific principles and the models and the measurements at all. You can know with absolute certainty that you are dealing with a scam when dissent is suppressed.
two of the countries which were most successful in getting good coverage of vaccination based this not at all on getting their citizens to try and understand the science. One is Bhutan, where they were very successful in preparing a campaign and involved. They asked, they were sensitive to the country's needs, to the citizens' needs, involved in informing the religious establishment, and in fact using them in finding the right time and date. And they got fantastic coverage. No science was explained. The other example I know of is Portugal, where the campaign was handed to a retired army general. And the army general just treated the country as his troops, and he rallied the troops. He declared it as a war that the country, in patriotic passion, was going to fight together. And they had up there, I think they were leading in Europe, if not the world. So, no science. Let's remember that.
The problem that we have is the open press system and basically all the platforms. So if you're able to have 5 platforms, social platforms, that you can basically personify the extremes, somebody who is extremely right or extremely left, and it seems like that is the majority speaking. They're not the majority, but they're basically driving everybody to make a decision. What side are you on? Are you on this side or this side?
What they're going to do next, I promise you, I just know it, they're going to impose a digital ID on everybody. Decline it. Decline it. You do not need a digital ID to live your peaceful life. Evidence the last hundreds of years. You do not need it. They need you to have it. Decline it. What else have they got cooking? Central bank digital currencies. Yes, it's very different from your bank card because it's a real-time transaction that looks for where you are and what you're buying before it says yes or no. Your current bank card only asks, have you got the money? So when they introduce central bank digital currencies, they'll tell you that, oh no, cash will run alongside it. No, I'm confident they're going to find a way of removing cash. Use cash at every possible opportunity. Decline business with anyone who won't accept it. Now this is going to involve you in inconvenience, just like declining digital ID is going to involve you in inconvenience. If you don't accept the inconvenience, you stepped into what I believe will be the human slaughterhouse. I think they plan to take digital tyrannical control of everybody and then kill most people. That fits the data better than anything else you've been told. So if I'm wrong and you follow me, you'll get laughed at. That's not so bad. If you believe the government narrative and I'm right, you'll lose your freedom and probably your life. I'm going to stop there.
The tyrannical globalist elites, the oligarchs that run the whole show, they are ready to make their move. And they will use any means necessary. As a matter of fact, they intend to use force. They intend to shed blood, pretty much. They've done it before, and they're about to do it now on a larger scale. They are out for blood because they've been postponing the agenda for far too long. And for them, it is high time. It is high time they accomplish the agenda. And a lot of people out there are opposing the agenda. And it's grieving them. It is pissing them off, right? That's why I put together a couple of clips to show you how they feel about you. The first one being Like right here, John Kerry is upset that millions around the world are awakening to the climate scam. And if you see this clip, he was really pissed off, man. You know, this is how they feel, because there used to be a time where they can just lie to you and you would take it, you gobble it up. Now, they can't just lie to you like that. A lot of people are hip to their narratives, the falsehoods that they push, right? Like right here, it says the problem that we have is the open press system. It says, speaking at the WEF in January 2023, Democrat Senator Joseph Manchin III argues against U.S. First Amendment, which is your freedom of speech, because they can't have you out there scrutinizing the agenda. Who the hell are you? You're supposed to say, yes, sir, thank you, sir. They say, jump up. You say, how high? That's what they expect from you, right? I mean, didn't you go to the school system? Because the school system was supposed to indoctrinate you on how to obey. Same goes with the military, right? All the system that they have out there was supposed to teach you how to be a good little citizen and do whatever it is that they want you to do. And here you are challenging the agenda. So they are pissed off. So they're coming after your freedom of speech. They're coming after you by every means necessary. And you have this lady here, says the World Economic Forum agenda contributor, Mariah Lepton. It's not necessary for governments to persuade their citizens into taking the shots, right? Using science, when they can use outright warfare instead. You see that? So this is how they're about to shed blood. They're out for blood. For real. They're not joking around anymore. They're not playing around with you anymore. They're not trying to tell you, oh, the science, trust the experts, because a lot of people found out that it's all loaded bull crap. I mean, look at Fauci, right? He was one of the experts. He got scrutinized, even brought up on charges, even though he wasn't locked up. You know, he was exposed to the fact that he didn't know what he was talking about, and you know, the whole gain of function thing, right? So no more trying to persuade you and tell you to trust the science and trust us, because clearly a lot of you don't trust us. So what we're going to do, we have to resort to force. They are about to bring force, and you can feel it in the air. The atmosphere is changing. Something wicked this way comes. Something very wicked this way comes. So now the question is, are you prepared for it? Are you prepared for something very wicked coming this way? You better be. Your answer better be that you are prepared for it. This is Psalms the 94th chapter and the 20th verse. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachahakodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continue to teach us this truth. Peace, salutation, shalom, shalom, shalom toward your brothers and sisters out there that are of the household of faith, beginning with 144,000 mighty men of the house of Israel, down to the men, women, and children that are allotted to be delivered in these latter days, who are of the elect, and to the brothers that are pushing this gospel in all sincerity and in all honesty. To you all, I say, shalom. Shalom, right? And there you have it, man. I put together this couple of clips just so you get a glimpse on how messed up the minds of these individuals are, right? And there you have this guy right here. It says the former vice president at Pfizer, Dr. Mike Eden, explains why digital ID and CBDCs must be rejected at all costs, because they're about to bring it. You know, they're done playing around with you. Because you have to understand all this, like the climate thing, the whole pandemic, all of that, they're all tied in to bring about this new system. It's not a different scenario, different cases now. They're all tied in. That was why, like, this clip showed you how they're all tied in together. Right? It's all the same thing. They have to introduce the problem, and here they come with the solution. It says the plan to take digital tyrannical control of everybody, and then you see that unalive most people. If I'm wrong and you follow me, you'll get laughed at. If you believe the government narrative and I'm right, you will lose your freedom and probably your life. Like I said, they're bringing their warfare. No time to be playing around with you anymore. That time is gone, man. They are coming with it. Because as the day goes by, it's like they keep losing the grip on the narrative, right? So what are they going to do? They will resort to the bully that they are, to the evil, Knievel type individuals that they are. They don't mind shedding blood, right? They don't mind. As a matter of fact, they want to shed blood. Remember, Georgia Guidestones tells you that to maintain humanity under 500 million, right? So shedding blood is part of this whole thing. First of all, they came to you, quote unquote, in a nice way and told you to trust the experts and do this and do that. A lot of you rebelled and a lot of you were dissenters and calling them out on their bullshit. Excuse my French. Now they're about to step the game up, about to step it all the way up. This is your main man here. He was found out to be a liar and a false doctor. Says in the same way that C-19 was merely a totalitarian power grab and had nothing to do with a virus. The climate crisis is also a totalitarian power grab and has nothing to do with saving the planet. It never has. Because the more they want to save the planet, the more they F it up. Why don't they start with not spraying chemtrails on the air? Can we at least start with that? Then we know they're really serious about it. Every day you look up, they're spraying like crazy. Spraying, it doesn't really matter where you are. You see them things in the sky. When you look right up in the sky, you see them spraying constantly in the air. I mean, for people that want to save the planet, they're doing a whole lot of polluting it, right? Well, that's why it's telling you here, it's never about saving the planet, it's about total control. The purpose of both scams is to frighten the global population into surrendering national sovereignty, representative democracy, economic prosperity, and individual freedoms, right? Individual freedoms, going back to the first one we read, coming for your First Amendment, right? It says to unelected globalist bodies like WEF, UN, WHO, in line with UN Agenda 2030 and Klaus Schwab's Great Reset. And there you have it. This is what you're up against. This is the machine, the beast machine you're up against. That's why we pull the scripture out in Psalms the 94th chapter and the 20th verse. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? So this is a question that is being asked. And I believe it was King David. Let's see. Because they didn't really specify who that is. But I will assume it is King David. He's asking a question with the throne of iniquity. Who is the throne of iniquity? Well, the globalists, the oligarchs, the wicked elite, who are Edomites, that run the whole show. They are the throne of iniquity. Right? And if you look up iniquity here, let's look up some of these words. First, let's look up iniquity.
Strong's H, 1942. Hava.
And there you have it. It says calamity, wickedness, perverse thing, mischief, noisome, iniquity, substance, naughtiness, naughty, mischievous. You get the idea. Desire in a bad sense. chasm, I believe, of destruction, engulfing ruin, destruction, calamity, right? So the throne of destruction, that's what these guys are. So they don't mind shedding blood. They don't mind bringing warfare to your terror dome, to your avenue, wherever you live, whatever it is that you are, wherever you reside at. They don't mind bringing terror to your dome, because they are the throne of mischief, noisome, naughtiness, wickedness, calamity, destruction, engulfing ruin. This is the individuals you're dealing with right here. And if you look up that word, frameth,
Strong's H3335. Yatsad.
goes into form, potter, fashion, maker, frame, make, former, earthen, purposed, right? So they form this thing, this iniquity, right? They put it into law. They disguise it as a climate, a sustainable development, right? Agenda 2030, Great Reset, NWO, Build Back Better, whatever term they want to use it, right? That is what they've done. To form, fashion, frame, to form, fashion of human activity, of divine activity. Well, in this regard, human activity of creation, of original creation, you get that? Going into forming man out of the earth, right? But we're talking about what men are doing on the earth. Wicked men, for that matter, right? The men of iniquity. And now let's look up mischief. So they frame this mischief by a law, the throne of iniquity. Throne meaning they have the position of power. A king sits on a throne. So the wicked elites, they are likened to kings. They have all the power they can wish, right? And all they've done with it is perverse things. Here we have mischief.
Strong's H5999. Amal.
It says labor, mischief, misery, travail, trouble, sorrow, grievousness, iniquity again, right? Miserable, pain, painful, right? So the whole you own nothing and be happy, that is a very painful ordeal. They're looking to put you in a real painful ordeal, man. Perverseness. Telling you that we have to bring it down to net zero. Knowing full well we are carbon based. So what do you really mean by that? And that they push for the same sex agenda, saying that a young child can change their plumbing, right? That is nothing but perverseness, man. Toil, wearisome, wickedness. You get the idea, right? So this is who we are dealing with. Individuals that have no regard for human life. They could care less. So here shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law. So they put these things in motion. That's why they're looking to do away with the Constitution. They're looking to do away with the Bible, right? So they can form a whole new set of laws that is governed by artificial intelligence, right? Governed by their perverse ways, right? They'll do away with the old world, right? That's why they're pushing for the climate this and sustainable this and build back better this, right? All this time, the great reset, so the reset from the old ways and bring in the new way. Goes on to say they gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous, you see that, and condemn the innocent blood. So they're out for blood. Believe it or not, they are out for blood, and they will get it by any means necessary. So your only hope is the 22nd verse. But the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge. See, that is your only hope. Because outside the parameters of, outside the confines of the God of the Bible, whose name is Yahweh through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, you will get caught out there. You are dead in the water. Because that's the only place you really be protected. Because this psychopaths, man, there's no telling how far they're willing to go, right? They showed you a little bit of inkling of that during the whole, pandemic thing. They showed you a little bit of inkling of that. They are willing to take it a whole step further this time. It says, and he shall bring upon them their own iniquity. Remember, they are the throne of iniquity. So that iniquity that it sits on, the throne of iniquity they sit on, guess what? The Messiah will bring it upon them and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua our God shall cut them off. This is what we pray for the wicked to cease to exist, for them to cease to be in power, because obviously they don't know how to rule, right? They don't know how to rule. Psalms the 55th chapter and the 21st verse, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, right? But war was in his heart. And part of that, this clip here, the soy boy himself, Trudeau, telling you how, we got to build back better, we got to come together and this and that, and all that globalist type of agenda. Anytime you hear them talking about, let's come together and do this and do that, right? It's a globalist agenda. That's what it is. People are allowed to disagree, right? No matter what. But that's just the way they push all that together to make you, let's just conform to this. But first of all, they have to create a problem. So they use all these smooth words to rope you in, to lure you in, to entrap you, and ultimately destroy you, totally destroy you. See, that's what the scripture is saying here. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You see that? So while they are talking all those smooth talks and how to build back better, how to do this and do that and save the planet, well, they've sharpened their sword, ready to cut you with it. That is their real agenda, is to destroy. That's their real agenda, is to destroy. It says, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain. You see that? So you can't trust in man to give you a sustainable development. Your real sustenance is going to come from the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, not from John Kerry, not from his ilk, not from guys like him, right? They can do no good, man. Don't you know no good, right? They can do no good. It says, he shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. See that? It says, but thou, O God, shall bring them down to the pit of destruction. Bloody and deceitful men, you see, that's who they are. They are bloody and deceitful men. Shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee. The bloody and deceitful men that are out for blood, guess what? They will get their just due, rightfully so. And very soon too. Very soon. This is Psalms 144th chapter and the 7th verse. It says, send thine hand from above, read me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. So you're dealing with very strange individuals, man. Like the whole TV series Stranger Things. Well, the strange children are doing stranger things on the planet. The strange children are doing very stranger things upon the world and the inhabitants of the world. Goes on to say, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. And there you have it. So when they are talking, believe them not. It's nothing but, let's look up that word vanity real quick, and falsehood. Right? When they're talking, you better don't believe this, guys. See?
Strong's H 7723. Shav.
So whose mouth speaketh vanity? And if you look up that word right there, it says vain, vanity, false, lying. So anytime they open their mouth, it's nothing but lies flying out of their mouths, man. It says falsely, lies, emptiness, vanity, falsehood, emptiness, nothingness, right? says vanity, emptiness of speech, lying, worthlessness of conduct. I mean, tell me that doesn't describe the wicked elites to the T and their minions. You see? And the same thing applies to falsehood, but let's look it up real quick.
Strong's H8267. Sheker. Sheker.
They have it: lie, lying, false, falsehood, falsely, vain, wrongfully, deceitful, deceit, liar, right? Lie, deception, disappointment, because when you trust in these guys, you are going to be disappointed. You can trust in Trump all you want. Guess what? You end up being disappointed. Every single one of them will disappoint you. They can talk all, it's all vanity. They talk the good talk, right? It's all fraudulent, wrongful, falsehood, injurious in testimony, testify falsehood, false oath, swear falsely, falsity, or false or self-deceived prophets. There are a lot of self-deceived prophet out there. Turn on your TVs, your Creflo Dollars, your Joel Osteens and them, right? Guys like that. Even your have you ever been swallowed? TD Snakes, lie, falsehood in general, false tongue in vain, right? You get the idea. Nothing but empty nothingness coming out of their mouths. That's why you can't believe these guys, right? You go ahead and believe them at your own peril, your own ruin. Going on in the 9th verse, it says, I will sing a new song unto thee, O God, upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. It says, it is he that giveth salvation unto kings, who delivereth David his servant from the hurtful sword. And that is what we are facing. Just like King David was facing the hurtful sword of his enemies. Because whether you know it or not, they look at you as the enemy. You are the enemy of the NWO, the agenda, you know? So they look to destroy you, especially if you preach the gospel, if you believe in wholeheartedly the true gospel, right? You become a target. See that? It goes on in 11th verse. Read me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. There we have it. These strange children, they need to be getting rid of. Right? Why would they need to be getting rid of? Well, this is what they do. For lo, the wicked, the Psalms 11th chapter, and the 2nd verse, it says, the subheading says, the Lord Jehovah Hashem Yahweh Shai, a refuge and a defense. Why? Well, it goes on to say, let's start at the first verse. To the chief musician, the Psalm of David, and the Lord Jehovah Hashem Yahweh Shai, put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to the mountain? It says, for lo, the wicked bend their bow, they make ready their arrow upon a string, that they may privily shoot at the upright in heart. You see? So they're targeting you. They can't wait to destroy you because they know you're upright. You're directly opposed to who they are, the wicked. They cannot never be upright. So looking at you, it rubs them the wrong way, like a bad massage. You see that? So it goes on to say, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? And the wicked elites, that's exactly what they're doing. By them talking about, we got to do this and climate change, that, they have DARPA, they have HARP, weather modification programs, all this stuff they have, guess what? It is destroying the earth, the foundations of the earth, the chemtrails, the polluting of the water, the polluting of the air, the GMO crops, seeds, all this stuff are destroying the earth, right? That's why it's saying, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Right? What will the righteous do? That's why it's not going to be destroyed. The Most High himself would destroy them. It goes on to say, the Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's throne is in the heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. That's what he's doing. That's what he's always been doing. So the wicked elites, the Most High know exactly what they're doing, even if they do it in secret. Right? It says the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. And rightfully so, man. Most High got to hit this wicked, totally destroy them out of the earth. Because, man, they've shown to be worthless rulers. They can't rule for nothing. And with that, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem, Hakodash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone. See you next time, Lord willing. Shalom. Shalom.